Welcome to this edition of On the Scene. I'm your host, Tim Kelly. On today's program, we're going to talk about the City of Suffolk's drive toward a AAA bond rating and how the city's strong financial standing is helping in those efforts. We're also going to highlight some ongoing and upcoming capital improvement projects that certainly have a multitude of benefits to the citizens of Suffolk. Stay tuned. Welcome back to On the Scene. We're here to talk about a very exciting topic today, and that's the push toward a AAA bond rating for the City of Suffolk. And to join us to talk about that topic, we have Interim Chief Financial Officer Ann Seward and, of course, Mayor Linda Johnson. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you, Tim.
Happy to be here.
Great. Well, we're happy to be talking about this topic. And Ann, I'm going to let you set it up for us a little bit. Tell us about what some of the exciting news we heard at a recent City Council meeting from our financial consultants about where we're heading as far as with our credit rating for the city.
Sure, I'll be happy to. Well, I think that the mayor really set the course for us about 4 years ago. She really set the goal of becoming a AAA community. We began making a lot of changes in how we do business here in the city. We brought in some strong people, and our financial advisors kind of led the way. And we really we're already putting in place a lot of the right things over the last few years, but now we kind of see the culmination of all those actions, and we are right underneath the AAA, and I believe that if we stay the course for the next 2, maybe 3 years, it's very close at hand. So I think we have strong leadership, and that goal being set by the mayor, I think, was a very wise choice for us about 4 years ago.
Mayor Johnson, I know you mentioned as one of your goals, personal goals, to get to that
Absolutely.
AAA. Just talk about that as far as where we were and where we are now.
Well, I think where we were is that we were in a place of having very little reserve, of having financial policies that were out of compliance. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure that we were really aware of exactly where we were.
Correct.
So as we got into it more, we saw that we needed to make some strong changes, and we needed to do the things to put our city in the right track. I think we've done that, and I'm really excited. Being AAA, to me, it's a lot of things. It's not just your bond rating. Of course, that reduces what we have to spend as far as our interest and all of that. But more importantly, it's what it says to our economic development world, to the people looking at Suffolk and saying just how strong is this city and what are the commitments. And the commitment is to keep us extremely sound and stable.
And what are some of the specific things and steps that we've taken as a city to move toward that? Certainly, with the direction of City Council and the movement there, but if either one of you could chime in to talk about what steps we've taken to bring us from where we were to where we are again right now.
Sure. Well, the first thing they look for is some strong leadership, and then also the management team that really builds that budget each year. We set into place some reserve goals that we had to build our cash fund balance back up to a point that we could operate the city and not have any worries about meeting all of our obligations. We put forward policies about our debt, the amount of debt ratio that we would hold to our operating budget. We set some goals for what we call cash pay-go, which is making sure we're not financing all of our capital needs. There were a multitude of financial policies that really needed to be fine-tuned, and then most importantly, we needed to adhere to those. And so we tried to very quickly put all that together, shored up some of the financial deficits that we had in some of the funds, and just made sure that we were communicating. We put together a finance committee so that we had all the right players around the table talking about our revenues. And I really just think seeing that discipline in our budgeting, we have a low tax rate here in the city. We work very hard at economic development. I think the mayor said it well. Businesses, when they come to a community, they don't just look at where they will locate to do business. They also look at the leadership of the community so that they can feel that it's a stable place for them to bring their employees and the families of their employees, and that they're going to have the appropriate government service and support. So it serves for a lot of different purposes.
Mayor, would you say you were surprised at how quickly we've kind of moved on some of these goals and objectives, again, to get us from where we were to where we are now?
I would say that I'm very pleased with it.
Right.
I'm not really surprised because, as Ann has alluded to,
Sure.
We have wonderful financial advisors.
Exactly.
Davenport has done an excellent job for
Right.
us. We have adhered to every suggestion that they have given us along the way. I know my first trip to New York was quite eye-opening to see exactly what it meant and where we were and where we needed to go. But I think, again, it's just the commitment to do that. I'm excited about it because
Right.
I do believe we'll see that AAA, and I think it means a lot. I often put it to to my family, basically, in the position of your credit rating, you know, and what does it mean for you?
Correct.
And in today's world, I think it's very easy to understand what that means for you. You know, banking has become more difficult, and yet we're able to do things like refundings and refinancings and things that we could not do if we were not in this position. So I'm just really pleased with where we are.
I know we mentioned again at the last City Council meeting there was a presentation that talked about some possible refinancing opportunities coming up soon and some real dollars to be saved through that process. I mean, again, I know the numbers will depend upon what the situation is when we go to market. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So obviously, again, that number, we have something to shoot for there. But talk about how that process kind of unfolds and develops when that time comes, and what, again, that will mean to the citizens of Suffolk with regard to savings.
Sure. Well, and tying that right into our rating, our bond rating really is a prediction of the amount of interest that we're going to have to pay on the debt that we issue. So the higher our bond rating, the lower the interest that we pay on what we borrow. So there's a direct correlation between the investments we make in doing the right thing financially and what that's going to do to the tax bills that our citizens receive at their homes. With this potential refunding that we have coming, we can see up to, I think the estimate was about $2 million that we could save over the term of the bonds. And I think it's a good analysis or analogy to equate it to your mortgage. Think about it like refinancing your mortgage. If you can refinance it down from 5% to 3%, that directly saves the money that you're paying out each month. And so for the city, it's the same thing. And so we have done this over a period of years. We've taken advantage of the market in the bonds, and we've been able to refinance those bonds each time, and again take advantage of our improved credit rating over the same period.
And again, I know there have been some comments from some of the rating agencies. I think there are 3 of them that we talk about when we're talking about these topics. And they've had some very positive things to continue to say about the city of Suffolk. Mayor, I think you might have some of those.
Actually, I do. I think we received today from Standards & Poor's, and I'm really excited to tell. It says, Suffolk has made significant and rapid strides in restoring fiscal stability to its financial position as a direct result of the management assembled in 2005. That, to me, that says it all, and I just see that we're only heading in the right direction, and that AAA is not that far away.
And what do you think, what do the two of you think this says about the city and again where we're heading when you start looking at comparison? I know recently there have been some cities that again have had declared bankruptcy, have not made payroll, when certainly we're not even close to that situation. We're moving in the positive direction. They're going the other way. But what does that say about us in sort of a comparative sense about the path that we're forging here in the city?
I think it means that we're solid, we're stable, and that's where we're headed and what we're trying to do. I think we can equate it. Let's go back to the tornado. You know, had we not had any funds at that point in time, we would have been in a position of borrowing to make our citizens whole.
Correct.
That's something we never want to have to see happen. So I think it's just ability against. And another thing that comes to mind here is the $10 million that we just received for 58.
Right.
The only 2 other localities that received that type of money were Fairfax and Virginia Beach, I believe, and they were both AAA cities. So
Correct.
that says to me where we need to be.
Right. And any comments on that same topic, just from your perspective?
I think that, you know, for Suffolk here, you know, we have, we really kind of turned our strategy, looking more forward thinking, beginning more of the 5- and 10-year planning as a city. We have such a large land mass, we have opportunity, we have great citizens, and you know, we really are the next rising community here, and so it's time to really make sure that we have our house in order because there's a lot coming for all of our citizens, and I think if we can stay the course, keep strong leadership, and stay on path, everyone will reap the benefits of that.
And I know in the second half of the show we're going to be talking with Gary Jones and Lakita Frazier to talk about some of the capital improvement projects that we have ongoing or that have recently been completed. But when you talk about the bond rating and your credit rating, so to speak, and the connection with that, the fact that we're able to get more bang for our buck when it comes to projects like that, again, looking for feedback. Mayor, we'll start with you.
Well, of course, and that's one of the things I was going to say, the pay-go piece that Ann mentioned. The fact that we don't have to borrow for every single thing we do, that's very important. You know, so that allows us to do more and to make it quicker process.
Correct.
So along those same lines, you know, we started the idea of finishing a project and before we started another one. So we've kind of directed our focus toward getting something finished and moving on to the next one. That seems to have worked very well for us. But the pay-go piece, again, makes things happen a little bit easier. So it does very much interconnect. What we are able to do for our citizens connects very strongly to the financial standing and that bond rating.
And what would be the next steps for us moving forward from where we are today, as far as what's the push forward as far as on the financial front, would you say?
What the rating agencies have told us is that we are doing all the right things, and now we really have to remain and maintain consistency in that performance. AAA is the next notch for us, and so they want to see that we can demonstrate discipline in how we manage our budgets, in our leadership, doing the right thing when it's needed, and you know, they already see so much here. We have the right economic climate. We've continued to see dirt turning when many of the communities have not. And so we are a desirable place for business and for new residents. So they see so much potential. They just want to make sure that we are committed to continuing on the same path. And I think we're sending good messages. So all the feedback that we're getting is very positive.
Again, that's the positive steps we have made.
And I'd like to add that I think the businesses are also looking at that. I've had an occasion to visit with several of our large businesses and small businesses lately, and they are very, what the choices they make are reflected in the choices that we make. So I believe they're more willing to invest in the city as they know that we are making those disciplined choices, and I think we're doing just that. So I'd like to say I think staff is doing an excellent job. I'm very proud of everybody that's worked so hard on this. Ms. Seward, we can't give her enough credit for all of the hard work she's done over the last many years. So
it's a great team there. So
it is, but we're in a good place.
Good deal, good deal. Well, again, I want to thank you both for joining us today to talk about, again, the City of Suffolk's push toward that AAA rating, and we'll have more on the scene when we return. Welcome back to On the Scene. You know, we spent the first half of the show talking about the city's improved financial status. We spoke, of course, with Mayor Linda Johnson and our interim Chief Financial Officer, Ann Seward. Now we're joined by two folks that really can talk about some of the projects that have happened or are happening or on the horizon here in the city of Suffolk. And, of course, we're joined by Parks and Recreation Director Lakita Frazier and Gary Jones, who's our Director of Capital Programs and Buildings. Thank you both for being with us today.
Well,
and Lakita, of course, you were just with us last week talking about some of the great things in Parks and Rec. We had to get you back on because we have more to talk about today. So we're going to take a bunch of different projects and kind of break them down, and then we'll toss them back and forth between Gary and Lakita to cover about where we are and kind of how some of these things are coming along. Sure. So we'll kick it off with a facility that's going to be opening on August 7th. That's the same night as National Night Out. We'll be doing it at 4:30 that afternoon. And, of course, that's the Animal Care Center right over there on Forest Glen Drive.
That's
and,
correct.
Gary, if you'll kick us off and tell us a little bit about what's happening over there. And this is both an addition as well as a renovation of the facility that was there before.
Yes, it is. What it is a wholesale expansion. The expansion component of it actually doubles the existing kennel space. They originally had some 40 runs, is what they call them, or 40 kennel spaces to support the animals there. We basically double that. We've got about 76 in total now. In addition to the expansion of the kennel itself, we actually have renovated some of the existing space to accommodate the office needs of the staff.
Correct.
They were well short as far as space is concerned for their office needs. Things like a break room. They didn't have a formal break room. And some of the office space they needed. They had a lot of shared office space. So we've given them better facilities to accommodate the administration needs. One of the biggest improvements you'll see down there is the space that the public uses to interact with the Animal Care Center.
Right.
If you recall, in the past, there was a small window and a small hallway that you walked into to take care of whatever the adoption needs you had or any questions you had or any information you want to know about the animal adoption or the animals in general.
Sure.
Now we have a very nice public lobby which consists of a reception desk to support all of the administrative and interactive needs between the staff and the general public. We have a retail area. We also, one of the biggest components we have down there as far as the new space is concerned is the ability for prospective pet owners to come in, view the pets just like you would in a pet store. We have all display windows. You can come in and pick out the pet, and then immediately across from that is what we have. We have 3 what's called Get Acquainted rooms.
Correct.
Those rooms are used to get families to go into a one-on-one situation with the pet that they're planning to adopt and get to know them. Spend time alone, kind of away from the chaos of the kennel, which in the past you had to go right in the kennel and do that. So, and then on top of that, once you come out and take care of pick the pet that you want, you can come out. There's going to be a retail space out front. You can buy some of the basic things that you need to support your new pet, whether it's a dog collar or a tag or little play toys or whatever it is that you want to get. There's also, and when you come in, there's a cat display room. It's kind of like we call it a pet condo, or cat condo rather. The cats, it's an area where that cats kind of climb and play, and kind of a part of the overall display area there. On top of that, we also have public restrooms and some of the other support spaces that are needed. The other thing we're doing when you get out on the site is, if you recall, the original shelter, it shared an entrance with fleet management.
Correct.
This facility now has its own separate entrance, its own separate parking facilities to accommodate it. So it's a facility. We're going to be opening it. National Night Out, as you know,
That's
big
right.
ribbon cutting day
That's
that day, and looking forward to that. And I think the public is going to be pleasantly pleased.
Good deal.
With the ability now to come into a first-class facility to adopt pets.
Got it. Well, we're looking forward to that opening. And of course, now one that's already actually taken place, Lakita will bring you in on this one, Planners Club. And of course, we talked about that recently, but talk again about some of the remodeling efforts that have taken place out there.
We had the opportunity to actually partner with Capital Buildings and Programs to make sure that we did an overall assessment of the needs of that facility. It was an older facility, of course, so we recognized that we needed to upgrade many of the amenities. One of the first things we did was to upgrade the HVAC system. So we have a very nice, environmentally stable air conditioning system that allows for, we have an upper unit that actually just cools off the entire building, where in the past we were working off a much older unit, and we did have some problems. So we're really glad that we're able to create a comfortable atmosphere with this enhancement. Secondly, we recognize the importance of accessibility. So we worked to redesign the handicap ramp that went into the facility. So it has just added a huge improvement to the exterior of the facility, and it just adds so much to the building, as well as accommodates individuals that can't climb stairs normally. It allows them to utilize their wheelchairs, canes, and things of that nature. We've also added a deck onto the back so that we have an expanded facility where you're able to, of course, have your event on the inside of the building, but you also can expand and utilize the deck for a variety of activities and events. We are currently working now towards an additional parking area there, so that we're able to not cause a lot of parking that we do right now on the grass. And when you have events after the rain or in the rain, that can create issues. So we're moving forward with that design process for about 60 spaces. We did add in, though, disability parking for individuals that can park right there beside the facility and utilize the sidewalk and the ramp.
Well, one good thing you didn't have to do out there was mess with the view, because again, it's such a great location that just came with it. So that's a nice enhancement right there. Gary, we'll talk a little bit now about the police storage facility, and that's something that's already online. Just tell us a little bit about that.
That's correct. The police storage building is up in northern Suffolk, and what it is a facility. It's about just under 4,000 square foot storage facility. As you can imagine, the police have a lot of storage needs as relates to numerous things, equipment, materials, those kinds of things. This facility allows them to have the space. Right now they have a lot of stuff stored in this old building here and scattered throughout the city and some of their precinct sites and some of the older buildings out at the driver transmitter sites. So this allows them the ability to have a secured stored facility on a city-owned site.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Lakita, we'll bounce it back to you. Now, a couple of projects that are in the works right now, some canoe and some boat launches that we're talking about, and these are two different locations. So I'll let you kind of give us the lay of the land on those projects.
Yes. One of the priorities that was identified at the last City Council retreat back in 2011 was accessibility to the Nansemond River. This is an issue that we have worked as a department and as a city to try to address over the last few years. So what we are working towards, we have received preliminary grant funding to add a canoe and kayak launch up at the Constance Wharf Park and Marina, which would allow access via kayak and canoe right there at the wharf. We also have applied for, and it seems to be very promising, to do the same thing up at Sleepy Hole Park.
Got it.
Right now there is no accessibility to the riverfront at Sleepy Hole. So this will be a fully accessible canoe and kayak launch. We're working with the Department of Conservation and Recreation to apply for funding that will allow us the opportunity to provide this access to our citizens, because it is a wonderful opportunity.
Now at Sleepy Hole, which of the two? I know when you pull in, there's kind of the big field right there with the covered areas, and then there's the other field around the other side. Which of those two would be the access points for that potential project?
The back lower
The back,
field,
okay.
Where the horseshoe facility is located.
Got it. Okay, good deal. Because again, you have some nice views right there, and I believe there's a little walking trail back over there as well. So that'll be a nice enhancement there. Gary, now one project, of course, that's sort of one of the big ones that's really on the forefront, the new municipal center and the 911 call center as well, against a combination project. If you would tell us a little bit about where we are with that, the kind of the timetable that we're looking at, and just talk about some of the amenities that will come with that project. One-stop shopping, I believe, one of the big themes there.
Exactly right. As you mentioned, a large project. As a matter of fact, it's the largest project that the city as a municipality has ever done.
Okay.
What we're looking at is a replacement E911 communication center to replace our aged technology. We're replacing the old analog technology with new digital technology, as well as the aged and, as you know, deteriorating old building here.
Correct.
An inadequate old building. As you mentioned, a one-stop shop. What this new facility will do will bring all of our services, I won't say all, but the majority of our services in under one roof to better serve the customers, so that you take care of your city business in one location. We're looking at a 108,000 square foot, 2-story facility, which will be situated on the current municipal site, but fronting West Washington Street as opposed to fronting Market Street.
Got it.
That building will be constructed, as a matter of fact, we're in the process right now of executing the contract with the design build firm of Amada Hoffler and their team with the architect of HBA to finish the design and construct the facility. We anticipate construction starting here towards sometime in the fall with the site work and utility reworking, and we expect full-fledged construction to be underway first of the year. And it will take about somewhere in the neighborhood of about 16 to 18 months to complete it. So we're looking at early 2014 for completion.
All right.
So that project is one that will, once constructed, will move into the facility. We'll then demolish the old existing facility and continue the site work with parking and everything that will support the main facility. So that project is well underway and full steam ahead. It's a large project, and I think it's going to benefit all of our citizens in a very positive way.
You know, a great facility, again, located right in the heart of downtown that will certainly potentially broaden out as far as some improvements as far as in our surrounding area as well.
Right.
Correct?
If I can add to that, yes, it will, just as everyone knows how the courthouse, Godwin Courthouse, when it was built, how it stimulated a lot of private investment in the downtown.
Right.
We think the new City Hall project, with bringing so much traffic and so much to one particular area, and an area part of town, a part of West Washington Street that needs some investment.
Correct.
We think this will be a catalyst to do that.
Okay, good deal. We're looking forward to that one. Again, you said tentative completion date 2014?
Yeah, early 2014. We have the E911 component, which will be complete a little bit earlier than that because we need to get that online towards the end of 2013. But the main building, we'll be ready to move into it early 2014.
Okay. And we don't want to, certainly there's probably a ton of projects we could spend, but we're kind of quickly running out of time. But a couple more we want to bring up. Lakita, the Whaleyville Community Center. I know that's a very integral part of that community, and talk about what's going to be taking place there.
We are very excited. Again, we will be working closely with Gary and his team. We are actually looking to do the kickoff meeting very shortly so that we can move forward with looking at the renovation and addition, and that's the type of project. That's the way we're going towards this project, similar to what we did at the East Suffolk Recreation Center, where we will be renovating the old Robertson Elementary School into the Whaleyville Community Center, looking at a lot of the same amenities that are currently being offered at East Suffolk. And if I'm not mistaken, Gary, it's about the same square footage that we're looking to do.
It is about the exact same size.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
So we're looking forward to offering health and fitness as well as activities focused on the senior population based on that demographic of the Whaleyville community. But this will also, as we saw with East Suffolk, be a citywide facility, even though it's located in the village of Whaleyville.
Gotcha. And again, the last project we want to talk about is the dog park going on at Lake Mead Park. Let's hit that one as well, please.
And the Lake Mead Dog Park, we are extremely excited about offering this opportunity for our citizens and their pet friends. We do recognize that Suffolk has a very high high population of animals and animal lovers,
Sure.
and that goes hand in hand with the animal care facility.
Exactly.
So we're excited. We're currently in the site plan review process. We're looking to start construction somewhere in the beginning of the fall,
Okay.
with an opening at the late fall or early winter. And this facility will be located right at the Kids Zone community playground behind Farm Fresh as a part of the Lake Mead Park. So we're looking to continue to add amenities, as well as a walking and riding trail
Okay.
will also be looped into the Lake Mead facility. So we're just working to enhance what we have
Sure.
to increase the quality of life for our citizens here in Suffolk.
And I think all the projects we talked about certainly involve quality of life, both for our,
Yes.
our people, residents, and
Yes.
as well as our animals as well. So again, we're kind of covering the gamut right there.
Yes.
But I want to thank you both for joining us to kind of give us an
pleasure.
update on some of these capital projects that are ongoing or upcoming. And again, something to look forward to for you, the residents and business owners here in the city of Suffolk. Thanks for watching this edition of On the Scene. We'll see you next time.